We're back with Kellyanne Conway, who is the first woman to ever be the campaign manager for a Republican presidential campaign. It is her first presidential campaign management gig, and she's been in it for precisely 1 week, most of which you've spent here in the studio with me tonight. I know it feels like I'm never going to let you go. I have two more questions for you. One is about this health issue, and I have a very specific question about this. So, Mr. Trump personally and your campaign, members of your campaign, have repeatedly now raised this question of Secretary Clinton's health. Now, the only testimony we have of Mr. Trump's health is this letter from his gastroenterologist saying that his lab results were astonishingly excellent. And the letter ends by saying, if elected, Mr. Trump, I can state unequivocally, will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency. And that's really funny, but as a doctor's letter, it's a little bit absurd. It's a non-serious letter. It's full of typos. It's hyperbolic. It's unprofessional. Most of the letter has no medical meaning. It links to a website that doesn't exist. If he was elected, Donald Trump would be the oldest person to ever be sworn in as president. Whether or not he's going to try to make Hillary Clinton's health the issue, doesn't he owe it to the American people to release an actual medical report, a more credible, more complete statement?
Perhaps, but I want to say something about Hillary Clinton's health. It's not an issue that I care to comment on because I'm not a doctor, she's not my patient, and I can just tell you what I see with my own two eyes, which is I don't see someone who really enjoys campaigning the way he does. I can only tell you about him because I'm with him practically every day, which is he keeps such a crazy, ridiculous pace for a man his age that it's very difficult for the younger staffers, of which I'm not one, to keep up with him, Rachel. I mean, it's really insane. And he called me yesterday and said, I need more rallies. Are we doing a rally here? I'm like, he doesn't just show up and do the rallies. He prepares for them. You have to travel. He's always reading. He's always thinking. He's always talking. I confess, I don't know when he sleeps.
Both you here as his campaign manager and him talking about himself have made his physical vigor actually part of what he brings to the campaign, part of what he offers, and they've made it a contrast issue with Hillary Clinton. But Hillary Clinton released a normal doctor statement. What we've got from Donald Trump, that letter really is absurd. And we've actually contacted the doctor who wrote it to try to get some background. It turns out he was using a medical credential on his name that he's no longer entitled to use. Like, there's a lot of really not upstanding things about what we know there. And so, I mean, for one, why is a gastroenterologist is a digestive specialist? Why has Donald Trump been seeing a gastroenterologist for 35 years?
Oh, that I don't know for sure. Okay, I mean, there are certain things I just didn't learn in the last week, Rachel, I promise.
Yeah, but like, as the campaign manager,
yes,
can I please make a request to you that we get a more substantial medical
I will pass on the request, and I assure you that he has doctors and physicians. And I want to also add one more thing. I was told by a different anchor last night on a different network that Hillary's doctors had released part of her medical information, her health history, and that she's in good health. And I said, great, because I want her to be in excellent health. Yeah. In other words, that's just not, I think stamina is different than health, vigor on the campaign trail. But I look at Hillary Clinton not being out there more as a strategy. It's scarcity as a strategy. It's that we don't want to put her out there because when we do, people are reminded that she doesn't meet the 70% of Americans who want a change election, a new direction. She is the person who has earned a majority of Americans, Rachel, saying, I dislike her and I distrust her. Well, and I can't imagine what comes after the but. What do you mean but? But I think I'll vote for her. I think I'll give it a whirl.
I think she's not, I mean, as just a political observer, I think the reason that she's not out on the campaign trail as much doing visible events is because they think they're winning and they don't want to interrupt the narrative.
And I think that's terrible, and I'll tell you why. If we were winning just because Hillary Clinton was failing or tripping over her words or messing up by not or she was down in the polls for whatever reason, let's say the Clinton Foundation investigation helps her go down in the polls, we're not going to disappear, I promise you, because that's not what the voters want. They want to see the candidates, they want to hear the candidates, they want to digest their proposals that we've been discussing tonight, Rachel, and they want to be able to see what the contrast is between these two. Not contrast in style, not even contrast in stamina, contrast on substance. I'm telling you, we're going to fight her on substance. And I'm very disappointed from what I know publicly that her speech tomorrow in Reno, Nevada
It's going to be all about you.
It's not about substance.
Yeah. Well, it's about the Trump campaign, and that's